Know Your Candidate. Presented by Portland is Possible, broadcasted by XRAY FM. In this segment, we offer a brief background on the visionary candidates that are proudly standing and running for the acclaimed Portland Area City Council. For now, we have a candidate of District 4 that incorporates downtown, Slabtown, Chinatown, Lincoln, Hillsdale, Eastmoreland, Goose Hollow, and the Pearl District.
My name is Mitch Green. I'm running for Portland City Council in District 4.
What groups will be your highest priority to consult in crafting policy or involve in decision making?
Yeah, so when I'm consulting with groups on policy making, I'm thinking about labor, the climate movements, the student movements, and tenants. And the reason why is because I think oftentimes these voices have been left out of the discussions about investments in our city. I think this is a strong set of movements that if we can combine together, there's nothing we can't do to solve the issues in our city.
Should the city of Portland be incentivizing building new large venues here? How does whether the project is locally owned affect your view of these projects?
So the arts scene in Portland has been a big part of its story. I mean, when I grew up in this town, that's when like grunge was happening, and it was a place that was affordable and accessible, and people could get kind of weird and develop some stuff, and that kind of created the identity for the city that we love. And so I do support incentivizing and using public money to invest in, even new large venues. But I think my bright line on that is if we're going to do that, the city should have an ownership stake in that institution, and we should make sure that there's labor at the table during the construction of this project, making sure that, while it's being built, it's unionized trades workers who are building it, and that we're not displacing any jobs from unionized members who might have previously worked on a contract, right? And so I think that when we do that and we're using public money, we need to kind of keep our promise to working families. And the other part of the question is, I think local ownership is key. So yes, the public sector can own a piece of it, but I think we should also be looking at ways to make it possible for creative, kind of like low barrier to entry opportunities for artists to do their work.
How should the city think about balancing economic and environmental interests as the region grows?
So I come from a tradition in economics that doesn't see a necessary trade-off between growth and sort of achieving climate objectives. So I don't really think that we have to kind of choose between growing our economy and meeting our sustainability goals. And in fact, if we go big right now and invest in kind of kickstarting a Green New Deal for Portland, and then a Green New Deal for Oregon, and so on and so forth, it's going to create a lot of economic growth, and it's going to create generations of good, clean union jobs.
What would or should the average Portlander's day look like in 30 years?
Yeah, so 30 years from now, man, if I was a good forecaster into the future, I'd be rich, right? But I think a lot less sitting in traffic. I think right now, too many Portlanders are sitting in traffic, and that makes us grumpy, but it also kind of moves us away from our values. And so I think 30 years from now, I envision a city where using a car is kind of the last resort, and people are sort of like joyously moving around the city in bikes, on scooters, and walking in neighborhoods that have sidewalks, right? And I think a lot less, time spent in the office, in the seat, in the cubicle at your job. We do grow the productivity of our economy, and that should yield a state where we don't have to work as much to get the same level of income.
What part of the district do you expect will change the most in the next 10 years?
Selfishly, I want to see my own neighborhood in West Portland Park have sidewalks so kids don't have to, walk down the middle of the road. But I think if I had to bet on what's going to change the most in the next 10 years, it's probably downtown. Old Town and other parts of downtown are already turning the corner on the sort of economic recovery story. We're seeing kind of large leases being signed and some of the empty commercial real estate buildings. And so I think we're going to see a rapid change pretty soon. And I think we're going to see a vibe shift.
Lightning round.
What restaurant or food cart is totally underrated?
The Chomp is a Thai food restaurant on Milwaukee Avenue in Brooklyn
What place in town should more people know about?
called Spunky Monkey, and it has some of the best breakfast sandwiches. So I'm motivated by food, so that's where I think people should go.
What event or place in Portland that no longer exists do you wish to bring back?
I'm a 90s kid from Portland, so it's got to be XRAY Cafe. Some of you old heads might know it, but it was a space for young artists to kind of do their thing at venues and try their acts out. It's kind of an incubator for a lot of the grunge music that came out of this city. And it was all ages. And I feel like I would love to see an all ages club come back to Portland, so we have like third spaces for teens to go to.
Where do you get your coffee?
So usually these days I make it at home because I work from home so much, but on days I go into the office, I like to take a detour through Old Town and hit up Deadstock. If you haven't been to Deadstock and you're also a sneakerhead, you gotta check out Deadstock because they always have like really cool sneakers up on the wall too.
What's a single word you want to use to describe Portland in 30 years?
Welcoming.
So now you know your candidate, or a bit about them. We like to thank the visionary candidates, also like to especially thank all the volunteers and organizations that put this together. We couldn't do this without you. To look at each candidate, be a good Portland citizen, and to be a dashing and informed voter, listen to XRAY FM to learn about ballots and the new ranked choice voting system. And check out portlandpossible.org.